Alright, this is the Ultra Micro MIG-29 build using the Micro Stryker electronics. Here's the plane. Do a quick recap from part 1. We started by cutting out our prop. Then we took and 45'd the leading edges. On all your leading edges, we 45'd them toward the front of the plane. And we cut out the whole main fuselage, the whole body. Alright. We took and cut out the main fuselage, all straight cuts. Then I was working on the tail. That's what I was cutting last. Let's get back to that. I finished cutting it out. I went ahead, traced it on my foam, and made a duplicate. And there I got a mirror image. I went ahead and hinged them. I'm only using 2 vertical stabilizer fins on this build. The third one's kind of obsolete. Really don't need it. Alright, jumping ahead, I got here's a receiver cover left, receiver cover right. I went ahead and cut these out too, all straight cuts. And this is going to cover your receiver on the bottom of your plane. Just go ahead and hot glue these now. And do the other side. There's your receiver cover. It's going to go on underneath of your main wing. Alright, let's go ahead and glue on these vertical stabilizer fins. There's the rudder plans that I cut out. Now again, I'm just going to line them up with the line, hot glue them on there. Line it up with your body line. Like so. The other side. Line it up best you can with the body line. Make sure they're both pointing the same way. They look nice. There we go. Oh yeah, and on the recap, remember we scored a line down the very center of the plane before we installed the canopy. We just scored a line because we wanted to put some dihedral in this plane. So there you see it. That's all I did. We'll score it with the razor blade. Don't go all the way through. Break it and bring it back on itself, and you'll get that slight dihedral. Don't want much at all. We'll go ahead and on your plans here, you can take these pieces to find where everything mounts. Like right there is your receiver, which is going to be like this. Let's go ahead and glue that on. Just going to eyeball this stuff. Of course, you're going to do a better job. So that's your receiver cover, and it also looks like an intake. So I believe that's it for cutting out the plans. Now let's move on to installing these control horns. I get my control horns from Dubro, micro control horns. As you can see, they got a little peg on the bottom. I leave the pegs on until I'm done installing them, so I can just cut them off later. But here we have your control horn that's going to hook to your servo here. What I did was I went ahead and cut a slit, and I pushed it through the back. You always want to make sure your servo horn is right over your hinge line. All my planes are hinged the same, always on the top. Tape's always on the top. So then after you did your left and right side, you want to flip this over to get your elevator control. I went and reversed them. As you can see, I put another control horn here with a control rod back to your other control horns in the rear. So that way you got one servo operating both aileron and elevator. And of course this flies on the mix. The other side. You see how that operates. Make sure you make this servo stand up kind of high, or this control horn, so that way it gives you clearance for your rod movement. And then just set this one on a low. Alright, moving on. Now installing your motor mount for your prop. Here I got the motor and prop. This is the reason why I told you not to cut this out yet, because once you build this, you're just going to want to center it on there wherever you're going to need it. Then you make a cutout and hot glue that sucker down in there. And again, your electronics, your receiver is going to go under here. Your battery. You're going to mount your battery on the bottom for your first flight with some blue painter's tape. That's how you're going to find your CG. So once you're flying and you found your CG, you mark where your battery was, where it flew the nicest, and you can go ahead and cut out your canopy wherever you find your marks, just like I did there. So again, you can get these little micro control horns, the little Dubros. I get them from the prop shop on Van Dyke. I'm sure you can order them from there, propshophobbies.com. Then again, you use the little Dubros. Hook up your linkage in the tails, make them stick out the back. Hook up your linkage rod. And then you'll see here I got my servo on the middle stabilizer fin. On this build you're going to want to move it to the left side, on the inside of the left tail fin. That way it makes up for any of that, you know, when your prop's spinning, your plane tends to pull to the right. So if you put that servo over there, it adds a little weight to this side of the plane, makes up for that counter rotation. Alright, that'll about do it. Hope you guys enjoy the build. Over and out.